Hi everybody, welcome to my place. Really good to be here with you guys. Awesome to see so many people popping into the stream. Kia ora Nicole, good to see you. Oh, hello Marco, Carol Wan, Nicholas Neal, Andrew Wilson. Great to see heaps of you. Hi Jan Turley. Happy Wednesday. And is that Will Fleming watching tonight as well? Kia ora Will, good to see you as well. Tonight's topic is a real big one, and what you guys probably don't know, or if you're meeting me for the first time, first of all, I'm Monique Bradley. I've lost 40 kilos in weight. It's been a long journey that's lasted some years, and I've done a huge amount of research and basically used myself and my body, my mind, and the journey as an incredible learning experience. And I've done a huge amount of study on the psychology of weight loss and the physical side around weight loss as well. You know, how do we adjust our mindset and how do we adjust our menu and our physical experience to help our bodies work in an optimal fashion and find our way back to living a happy, healthier, more optimal life. So that's the long and the short of it. Over that journey, I was 110 kilos. I went down to 42 kilos in 8 months. I actually ended up with an eating disorder. I went back up to about 90 kilos. I went back down to about 69. And here I am, 40 kilos, maybe a bit more, less than my original 110 kilos. So I'm in a much healthier weight range. And the transformation I've had, particularly in the last 6 months, learning a whole bunch of tricks about how to never be on a diet again. This information is my mission. I want to share this with everybody, and tonight's topic is really about things that are secretly happening around us or within us that we don't even know about, maybe that actually are contributing to one of the highest obesity rates in the world. They're contributing to things like, you know, the growth of diabetes and cardiovascular disease. And no, I'm not just talking about sugar tonight. I'm talking about a whole bunch of different factors that are affecting our health and well-being. My handsome nephew, you've seen me go through the transformation. You know, genetically, and this is something I'm going to talk about tonight, our family is predisposed to obesity, and genes are one of the big topics that I'm going to touch on tonight, because I've done a lot of scientific study around genetic predisposition towards obesity. And in fact, I sit in a category, I'm one of 10% of the world's population that has a precursor or predominance towards obesity, cardiovascular disease, and diabetes. However, this is not a death sentence or a death penalty. What I know now is I have the information to be able to turn my health around and actually turn my body into a fat burning tool for the first time in my entire life. But this is part of the topic tonight. So if you've just joined the stream, kia ora, welcome. Tonight is about you guys, and if you've got any questions at all about weight loss, wellness, how to change your mindset, how to be happy, how to have your cake and eat it too. I'm a total foodie. That's what I want to share with you guys tonight. First of all, what I need to tell you, statistically, in around the 1960s and 1970s, only 9% of the population was overweight. Now in the 1970s, I was in that category. So I was 18 months old. I was admitted to hospital because I was abnormally large. I was morbidly obese even as a toddler, and the doctors thought there was something wrong with my brain. Now, my father was 6'3" and around 23 stone in weight, and my mother, a beautiful lady, 5 foot tall. She's a curvy lady as well. The doctors scanned my brain at that time, and there was nothing wrong with my brain. I couldn't walk, but I was speaking in sentences. It's a gift. And when I came out of the brain scan or the MRI room or whatever they did, the doctors decided that there was nothing wrong with my brain, but on looking at my parents, they made an assumption that elephants don't make mice. At that stage, obesity wasn't as big as it was now. And in fact, if a doctor said that to a family now, they'd probably get a lawsuit slapped against them, right? What the doctors were trying to say is that genetically, there was a predisposition towards obesity in my family, and that's something I've battled with for most of my life up till now, which is really exciting. Now, the obesity rate, around 67% of the population is overweight. Let me just back the truck up there. In the 1970s, 9% of the population was overweight. Now, 67% of the population is overweight. That is mind-blowing to me, and I'm going to tell you the reasons why and give you some ideas on, if you fall into that category, what you can do. Now, I'm not talking about everybody, you know, morbidly obese or anything like that. I'm talking right through the spectrum of weight challenges. So, oh, Matty, hi, good to see you. Gavin Cashin, good to see you as well. Oh, Albie, kia ora to you. Lovely to see you on the stream tonight. As we go through, if anything resonates with you, let me know on the newsfeed, because I love hearing from you guys. Right, so firstly, here's the first thing you need to know, something I've already touched on. One of the real challenges, one of the things that's secretly making us fat that lots of people don't suspect. Let's take a look. It's your genes. Now, I'm not saying that this is an excuse, by the way. I can't do anything about it because my genes don't play in my favor. I lived that excuse for years. It was like, oh, well, I'm fat anyway. I've got a predominance towards obesity. I can't do anything about it. Pass me another donut. That is not an excuse. I have done DNA genetic testing. They've swiped the inside of my mouth and tested my DNA to show that I don't process carbohydrates like other people do. So I now know not to eat so many carbohydrates. I have, in fact, and this is the test you can take, it's called the Carb Choice Test. You can only get that through a health practitioner. Lynette Hill is the practitioner I took my test through. Amazing woman, naturopath, wellness advocate. Basically, it doesn't give you an excuse to just go and eat whatever you like. What it tells you, you know, because you can't do anything about it anyway, what it tells you is the foods you can actually eat to help you find your way to a healthier body and a healthier you. So for me, I now know I don't process carbohydrates very well. So I've made a conscious choice to play with my genes, not play against them. And I've removed the foods from my diet, or I limit the foods in my diet now that cause inflammation in my body that led to weight gain. It's that simple. You've got to work with what you got, honey. So once you know a little bit more about your body, you can maybe have a look around at your family and look at that environment. Look at, you know, if you know there's certain genes in your family which might run in the family, chances are you've got a higher likelihood of inheriting those same genes. So it's a case of knowing which foods you eat on a daily basis that inflame you or fuel you. And that's a whole nother question for a whole nother day. So happy to talk to you guys about that if you want to chat one-to-one or anything like that. Yeah, traits basically in our genetics can be switched on or switched off. Well, that's my understanding. And sometimes the genetic hand we get dealt isn't a great one. However, knowing what inflames you and what fuels you, look, that's a real change in your diet and lifestyle that you can make really easily simply by controlling particular foods that you eat. Really amazing. Thank you, SH Sohag Al Hussein. Glad you thought that was excellent. Okay, let's take a look at point number 2. Now, sadly, our environment is a massive contributor to our weight. Now, I actually have the science here. A New England Journal of Medicine, and I've spoken about this in social media, study declared that people can actually catch obesity from close friends. Now, bear with me here, bear with me. When research followed 12,067 people over a 32-year study, they concluded that those of us with very close friends or family who are obese have a 171% higher chance of becoming obese too. 171% chance. This is crazy. And basically the theory goes, according to the study, you're influenced by your friends, and chances are if they like to celebrate and socialize and overeat a lot, chances are you will unwittingly follow that lead. So, you know, knowing about peer pressure as an example, being really conscious when you're eating, I think, is a real key to changing that. So I know, you know, in my situation, I have hung out with people who like to overeat and things like that. I would do the same thing because I like to overeat too. I've had to become really conscious of what I eat, and that has really helped my health as well. So something to be mindful of there. Keep an eye on your environment. You know, who are you socializing with? Do you like to socialize a lot? And if you do, that's totally okay. Just remember, every mouthful should count. Don't waste your calorific daily value on empty calories. Think consciously about what you eat, and know when it's okay to say no as well. Okay, let's take a look at the next point. Something that has really contributed to the obesity rates at the moment. This is a big one. Our lifestyle has completely changed. Oh yes, Nicole Huda, you just messaged in and said, our family Christmas is like that. I know, right? How often do we celebrate and overeat too much? I mean, I used to eat until I want to go to sleep, basically. And Matty, because we eat what our family eat, that's so true. Oh, and Albie, you're talking about food that inflames you. White bread. Damn straight, my friend, damn straight. If you're not great with carbohydrates, white bread will absolutely inflame you. So our sedentary lifestyle, the way that our jobs have evolved, you know, due to wonderful technology like this, we actually live a more sedentary lifestyle now. So, you know, if you think back to the 1950s and 1960s, more people were doing physical labor jobs. We don't do that so much now. Yes, there are still builders out there doing things. Kia ora to you, LB, for that. But, you know, there's lots more jobs based in technology. We do a lot more sitting down. We do a lot more time behind the computer. We do a lot more time driving in our car. You know, back in the 50s and 60s, we probably did a lot more cycling to get to work. We didn't use the car so much. So lifestyles have really changed, and that sadly is influencing our health, and it is influencing the obesity rates around the world. So if you are in a job which is more sedentary, something that can really help, see, I'm just making myself comfy here in my lounge, something that can really help is, of course, to think back to something really traditional. Think about calories in, calories out. Now, I personally do not like to count calories. I like to think that if I go out for a walk, I'm finding a bit of balance. I'm stimulating my metabolism. I'm getting my body moving. I'm, you know, burning some more calories. I don't like to stress about calories, but if you are really conscious of it, if you've got unexplained weight gain, do think about consciously the foods that you're eating. Are you secretly having that chocolate bar in the afternoon? I'm going to go through some foods which are deemed as health foods that are actually contributing to obesity as well. So do keep watching for that. But, you know, there's lots of things. If you are in a sedentary job, you can do things like, you know, instead of taking the lift, take a flight of stairs. You know, these things you've heard. It actually works. It's worked for me. So I really want you to be mindful of that. Maria, technology, yeah, absolutely right. Oh, Anthony Tipena, you put on weight over Christmas? Yeah, lots of people do. It's crazy, but it's so true. Sorry, I'm just going to open up my screen a little bit more so I can see all your comments there. It's really common. You know, we celebrate, we overindulge, we always associate foods with celebrations and good times, but often those foods that we have during celebrations and good times are, you know, maybe high calorie ones, lots of fried foods, lots of sugars. And again, what do? We celebrate, we sit down. A sedentary lifestyle. So yeah, just think about little ways that you can actually cheat in a little bit more movement into your everyday. I even hate the word exercise, to be fair. I'm not about exercise, but I will vacuum, knowing that, you know, we have lots of stairs in this building, so, you know, lots of areas to vacuum. Every time you're doing that, just think you're burning more fuel, and that's a really good thing for your body. So think about different ways that you can add movement in a fun way. Go out dancing, have a good time. It's really good for your body. Get moving. Okay, the next point, one of the biggest contributors that we forget about is stress. And there is science behind this. And I'm going to read you the actual science. When you have chronic stress, your body steps up its production of cortisol and insulin. Your appetite increases, and so do the chances that you'll want to engage in hedonistic foods. And by hedonistic, we're talking high calorie, high sugar. We're talking about all those, you know, we want sugary chocolate, we want donuts in times of stress. We want to reach for convenience food. We don't want to have to actually stand back and cook something. We want something fast. Our body needs that hit. Think about that fight or flight response. Your body wants energy to deal with stress. But basically what happens is in that time when you have that food, when you're trying to combat stress with those high calorie foods, yes, the areas of the brain that we call the reward center are activated. So you will immediately feel better. But what happens when that wears off? you get that slump afterwards, you know, that energy slump. You've messed with your sugar levels, and we know long term that messing with your insulin levels, you know, you can become insulin resistant or insulin sensitive, or be like I was and end up pre-diabetic. You don't want to get there. And you know, considering, I think it's the rates in New Zealand, there's 250,000 people currently living with diabetes. Don't be a statistic. It is hard. I lost my father when I was 18 years old, and he died because of complications associated with diabetes. Don't do that to yourself. Look after your health, and start by looking at your stress levels seriously. Remember too, you know, don't go for those convenience foods. If you know you need something, a good hit, make sure you've got good foods stocked away. And if you do need a food hit, make sure it's long-sustaining, good energy food. You know, cashew nuts are a better option than a chocolate bar. So, you know, think about better choices there. Okay, the next point. One of the things that's doing it to us, we're not getting enough sleep, people. And this can actually impact our insulin sensitivity and contribute to a slower metabolism. This is crazy. And another point, which I'll show you too, light at night. The light peering into your bedroom, if you've got street lights outside your bedroom, that light coming into your room will actually disturb your sleep and prevent you from getting the restorative REM sleep that you need for your body to repair. So you don't feel rested when you wake up in the morning. And so what do? You need an energy hit. So you reach for those high calorie energy foods to give yourself that hit. And then what happens? You crash. So you need another energy hit. And you know, it's this perpetuating vicious cycle. So make sure when you're sleeping at night that you are sleeping in a really dark room. Look, I lived for 4 years in a place in Takapuna with my partner Pete, and we didn't have those blackout curtains, and we had really bright street lights coming into our place every night. And I swear I was tired the whole time I lived there. So make sure you can sleep in a place which is really dark. If you don't have blackout curtains, think about getting an eye mask. It will help your health long run. Okay, another point that is contributing to our weight, eating on the run. Nicole, you've just said sleep apnea is what it is. Very, very interesting. And so you guys reach to something like lift. I'm talking about. We go for those convenience foods that we need. And here's a big point. We've stopped listening to our bodies. So when we eat on the run, we don't give our bodies the chance to process foods properly. So we don't often get the, when we're eating, we need to, our body's this complex machine, right? We need to let our bodies actually process the food. And it takes 20 minutes for our bodies to actually know we're full. So we don't listen to our bodies anymore. And I'm going to ask you, and let's be honest because we're friends, how many times have you actually worked through your lunch break? Or you know you have to go on the move, you've got to talk and work at the same time, and you've got to eat, or you've got to, or have we lost sound, Pete? Oh no, keep going. Perfect. You don't get that time to actually process your food. So we've actually gone to this place we push out our hunger for an extra hour, and then before you know it, the hunger pangs have actually gone. So we've stopped listening to what our body intrinsically knows to tell us, all these signs and symptoms that it's hungry, that it needs nourishment. Now, when we were babies, when you were hungry, you let the whole world know about it, and you needed to be fed. So your body was doing everything right. And chances are, if you were a baby and you'd had a feed and you still wanted more food, it's not because you were a greedy baby. It's chances are your body didn't get the nourishment and nutrition from whatever it was you were feeding, whether it was breast milk or, you know, the right nutrients may not have come through. And as a baby, you were still craving those nutrients. As an adult, we've stopped listening to those signals because we're too busy. Our lifestyle's taken over. We've stopped listening to those signals that tell us that we need to eat food right now just to give us the sustenance to keep going for the rest of the day. And then we end up with these cravings later on in the day because our body hasn't got the nutrition it needs. And so we go for these snack foods, we go for the wrong foods, and we're still living with this nutrient deficit, and we're still not getting what we need. And can you see how this all happens? We need to take time to sit back and go, you know what? wow, I'm actually hungry. Am I hungry? Is it a craving? Am I thirsty? What's actually going on? Get back, do a reset with yourself. Know when you're full, know when you're hungry. And that sort of reset takes time. I've done this myself. I was talking with Ray McVinney just a few days ago actually, and he said exactly the same thing. Some years ago he was a little bit overweight for his body height and his body type, and so he did that. He allowed himself to get hungry so he knew what it felt like, so he could reconnect with his body. And he was a really busy chef. You know, he worked long hours, often had to work through breaks, things like that. He did his own reset, and now he knows exactly when he's hungry. He doesn't eat till he's hungry. He lets his body tell him what he wants to eat. If he feels like, you know, for him, if he feels like pizza, that's what he'll go and have. He doesn't have the same carbohydrate intolerance as I do, so he can eat different food. But he now knows too when he's full. He doesn't overeat. He eats real food and a good variety of it. Resetting your body is a great thing. I highly recommend. If you want some help with that, hit me up. I know how to do it, and it's a great tool to help you reconnect with your body and start to eat more consciously. Okay, let's take a look at the next point. Right, your skincare and your personal care. This was shocking to read about. But if you think about it, your skin is your biggest organ. What are you putting on your skin? Some of the things, some of the toxic chemicals that are actually in skincare, if you think about it, you know, if you're using skin whitening products, you've got bleaches in there. Bleach goes through your skin and ends up in your liver, which affects the way the body processes. And think too about things like, there's what we call, I have to find the word, endocrine disruptors. I know, a big term. Endocrine disruptors are things that are actually used in plastics, which, you know, plastics are what we carry our food in, right? We're talking about BPAs. Those BPAs, when they're ingested into the body, actually affect our hormones. And our hormones are like, how would I describe it? They're like the things that keep the factory working. So if you think about hormones like insulin, there's a whole bunch of hormones, cortisol, I can't even remember them all, but there's all these hormones in our bodies that make everything function correctly. Now, something like a BPA, which is in all our plastics, is a hormone, effectively a hormone disruptor. And there's lots of science out there. I know I'm not quoting it quite 100% correctly, but all of these things can interfere with your hormones. And when you have a hormone imbalance, you know, what do you think can lead to weight gain, unexplained weight gain? Could it be your hormones? If you do suspect something like that's going on, please talk to a healthcare professional. Hit me up, let's have a chat. I'm happy to recommend somebody that might be fantastic in working with you if you think something a bit odd is going on in your body. But basically, you know, your body should be healthy. You should be able to deal with, you know, a few hormone disruptors coming in. But however, if you're stressed, if you're tired, if you're not getting the right nutrition, if your immune system's down, you're going to be more susceptible to the chemicals from those plastics coming in through your body, through the chemicals that are in your skincare or in your makeup or your deodorants. They're getting into your body through this huge organ that you have, which is trying to protect you, but it is porous. Remember that. So those chemicals can get into your body and mess you up a little bit and put everything out of whack. So do have a think about it. Do look for, if you're using skincare and makeup, go for as natural ranges as you can. They are much more gentle on the body. Think, you know, not only is food your fuel, but food is your medicine. Look for skincare products and cosmetics that actually have real products in there, not just numbers. If you can find a good skincare range, and shout out to my friends at Kathy Organics. By the way, not getting paid to promote their products, it's products I believe in. These products are made from food. If it's good enough to eat, it should be good enough to put on your skin, right? So do have a think about those products as well. Okay, so leading up to that, getting rid of those nasty plastics that house your food and you're ingesting all those toxins. If you do think something is awry with your health, so for example, people who may not even know they have diabetes, they may experience fatigue and weight loss, sudden weight loss. That could be a sign that somebody may actually have diabetes, as an example, or leading up to it. Or on the flip side, unexplained weight gain could be a precursor to being pre-diabetic like I was, or even a lead up to type 2 diabetes. If that's the case, go to the doctor, because it could be a sign of the next point. You could have undiagnosed intolerances or allergies, or it could be a sign even of undiagnosed symptoms of disease. So for me, for 25 years, I lived with symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome. I thought this was normal. I'm kidding, I'm not even kidding you. I had diarrhea probably 3 times a week. I had weight gain all the time. I bloated up a dress size most days. I thought that was all normal. It turns out it's not. I had intolerances. I'm not celiac. I don't have Crohn's disease, but the food I was eating at the time was actually inflaming my body. And it seemed that just about every week I put on another kilo. And I thought I ate really well. I thought I ate according to the food pyramid, but it turns out that the food pyramid, I better not get into that argument, just in case anybody's working for a big grain company or a wheat company or something like that. But the food pyramid, as we know it, doesn't work for me. So if you are concerned about your health, if you think you've got a bit of bloating going on that you can't explain, if you've had unexplained weight gain, speak to a healthcare professional, or again, hit me up for a chat. Okay, so that is the first part of tonight's chat, and that's all really focused around lifestyle and your health. The second part we're going to delve into is actually about our menu and what we eat. So what I need to tell you is, this is mind-blowing. Things changed back in 1977. There was a report published in America called the McGovern Report, and this actually influenced the way we eat and influenced food production around the world. So in 1977, this report was released saying that there was an increase in cardiovascular disease, and this was linked to the amount of saturated fats in our diet. So this sent the food industry into a bit of a tailspin. So to meet that demand, the food industry created what we now know as the low-fat food cult or food epidemic. So basically foods were produced, you know, fat-free, low-fat foods. But what they also discovered is that when you reduce fat from a food, because fat basically carries flavor. Fat is also a thing that we eat, which lets us know when our bodies are full, right? Good fats are good. The saturated fats, biff them out, get rid of them immediately, they're not great. So when you remove fat from something, you kind of remove the flavor. So at that time, all of these food companies, because they'd removed the fat, increased the sugar. What have we had since then? An increase in diabetes, not just in New Zealand, but globally. It's one of the biggest epidemics in the world. Now the other thing too is that often low-fat diets, as an example, now if you can't process fat, shout out to you, totally respect you. I hope you're doing the right thing for you and your body, and I hope it works. But yeah, the real trouble is, of course, you tend to eat a little bit more. So you crave fat, and with that, you know, if your low-fat food has more sugars in it, you're increasing your calories anyway, and you're kind of perpetuating this cycle. So when I worked, gosh, when was it? 24 years ago, I was working in a bookstore, and I actually used to buy diet magazines back then. So I've been studying this stuff for a long time. So diet and health and wellness magazines, and I got this free, I've been carrying it ever since, this free booklet came with one of my magazines called Just For Me, and it was a diet book, and I found it amongst all my cookbooks. And I went through and I had a look at the recommended foods that they had in this book, and they are all foods I actually can't eat. So I followed the diet plan in here and I gained weight. We probably shouldn't, I shouldn't go too close because I don't want to out the company who put it together. But because this is a low-fat book with lots of high-carb foods, this didn't work for me, and I wasn't the only one. So here I struggled trying to eat well according to the traditional food pyramid, and I gained weight. And I've struggled with this. I've been yo-yo dieting ever since. And it's only now in the last few months that I have really found what works for me. And that's a little bit more fat, less carbohydrates, eat real food, more plant. Nicole, food belly hard. Lol. I'm not sure what that means, but yay. Okay, so yeah, basically we need to stop thinking about fat. Like I said, bad fats are bad, but we need to stop thinking about fat as being the demon. Sugar is 9 times more addictive than cocaine. So there you go. Sugar is a real big problem. So we're going to have a look at some of the things that you need to know. There are a lot of hidden sugars in some of our favorite condiments, as an example. Or just think about the time you go to your favorite cafe and you order a giant coffee with a shot of vanilla in it, or almond flavoring. That's a heap of sugar you're adding in there, and unless you are you know, running regularly or exercising a lot, you're not actually going to burn that sugar off. It's actually going to store as fat in your body. Breads and cereals, they do hold a lot of additional sugars, so be careful. Read the ingredients on everything. Something else that's really changed: portion control. Portion control is now out of control. Oh, Anthony Tiffany, you said hooked on sugar and coffee. It's sad. Yes, it is sad. Portion control is also a big issue. Our meals are now 30% bigger, the meals that we cook. So back in the 1960s, most people used to cook all the time. You hardly ever had a takeaway in the 60s or 70s. Our meals are now 30% bigger than they were in the 1960s, and the meals we eat in restaurants are 50% bigger than we used to eat in the 1960s and 70s. So things have really changed. If you want a quick reference for how much food you should be eating, as an example, your biggest portion should be plant on your plate. Protein should be the size of the palm of your hand and the thickness of your little finger. That's all you need. That's all you need for optimal health, and you only need a small amount of fat. Fat's really sustaining, but remember, think good fats. So think avocados, olive oil's great. Think of yummy foods like oily fish as well if you love fish, salmon, tuna, great for you. Yeah, think about the good fats. Don't think about the stuff that's fried that you get from the fish and chip shop. And no, none of those crazy weird vegetable oils, and I'm not going to name any, but keep away from them. There's lots of not good things in there for your body. Okay, so portion control is out of control. The next thing you need to think about, it was deemed as a health food back in the day when I was a kid. Dried fruit was seen as a healthy option. It is loaded with sugar. Sure, it might be tasty as heck, but unless you're climbing a mountain, you don't need it. Or have it in moderation. And smoothies and protein shakes, I drank them for years thinking they were a healthy option. Oh my goodness. I'll tell you what. Crazy. One of the places I used to get a smoothie all the time, one smoothie should be the equivalent of my entire calorie intake for the whole day. I would rather actually eat a whole lot of food for the whole day. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you like to stay full, you know, or keep eating the whole day? A couple of comments come in that I've just noticed. I'm so sorry I missed them. Anthony Tippin, is cream okay and butter okay today? Yes. I eat them. I eat a little bit more fat. I don't go crazy. I don't eat cream on everything or butter on everything. I actually make my own butter. Again, if you're looking at going into a higher fat diet and lowering your carbs, you may want to consider talking to your GP, because there are things to take into consideration. You have to look at your health. You have to look at, you know, whether you've got cholesterol issues and things like that. So do a bit of research about it, or hit me up. I'm happy to chat with you. Banana chips, yes, they are way too high in sugar for me. I can't eat them. And Nicole, you mentioned that you get bloating when you eat carbohydrates. Don't eat them. It's that simple. That's what this whole process, this is how I've basically reinvented my health. I've just stopped eating the foods that make me feel like crap. There's my secret. I hope that helps. Okay, so yeah, smoothies and protein shakes. Protein shakes, if you're wanting to add protein to your diet, if you're working out a lot, it's okay to do so, but take a look at the ingredients on the back. I personally would rather eat a couple of boiled eggs than drink a protein shake these days, because they don't taste like real food to me. And I love food. I adore it. I eat good food every day, and I love to cook. So I would rather eat real food that tastes delicious. I'm just thinking, oh yum. Low carb crackers with like mashed eggs with mayonnaise in them and cracked pepper. I mean, yeah, I'd rather have that. Delicious. Okay. The next thing I want you to be mindful of, because this is actually contributing to the obesity problem, diet products. I am the first one to admit I was an addict. I actually used to drink about 3 litres of a particular diet beverage every day, and I got really sick from it. And I'm going to read you the research very quickly on this. A study done by the University of Texas at their Science Center in San Antonio. It showed that the subjects in this study, and I believe there were 12,000 subjects in the study, who drank 2 or more diet sodas a day had a waist size increase that was 6 times greater than those of people who didn't drink diet soda. Yep. So basically how it works, my understanding is that if you drink a diet drink that has an artificial sweetener in it, as an example, it still hits up, it works as an excitotoxin, so it still hits up the part of the brain that goes to work to produce insulin to deal with sugar. Now, if you are producing all this extra insulin in your body, chances are you're going to crave sugar. That's what happened to me. And on the flip side, your body will start to become insulin sensitive. So you want to be really careful with that. And often there's a mindset too, and I had this mindset that, oh, well, it doesn't matter, I'm drinking diet drinks so I can eat more food, or, you know, I can eat fish and chips because I'm having it with Diet Coke. That was my mindset. I'm not even kidding. And people who know me who are watching this will know exactly the truth. Anthony, interesting comment there. Diet Coke was part of Weight Watchers once. I believe it still is. Just because something is calorie free doesn't mean it's great for you. There's a whole lot of chemicals in there, and I personally wouldn't go near them. That's my 2 cents worth. I won't say anything because I don't want to get in trouble. But yeah, look, you're better to drink water. Or like if you want fizzy drink, I drink soda water with a squeeze of lemon juice in it. Oh, so good. So good. Okay, next thing you need to be mindful of is energy bars and energy drinks. Now I know, Nicole, you've already mentioned this, that you were concerned about, you know, you mentioned like Diet Lift, was it? No. One of the energy drinks. Man, you've got to be so careful these days. The energy drinks, some of them have amazing vitamins and minerals and things in them. However, most of them are really loaded with caffeine, and when we have too much caffeine, we can get a bit jittery. We want to eat more food, you know, we don't know what's going on. It can really mess with your hormones as well, and we don't want to do that, especially if your hormones, they're tender little things, and they can really influence your weight massively. We want to kind of, the way it works is we want to kind of find this happy place with our body where our body goes, yeah, I feel good. That food, I'm not going to eat that because it inflames me. I'm going to eat this food which makes me feel great. And that's the secret to success. You know, those other foods which are high in sugar, like the energy bars and the energy drinks, so loaded with sugar. You're having more sugar in one of those energy drinks than you should probably have in an entire week. Why do that to yourself? You know, I'd rather eat good, tasty food all week instead, and just not stress about it too much. So yeah, be careful of those drinks and those energy bars as well. You might think they're going to give you that hit straight away, but you're going to slump in energy afterwards, and then you need another hit to get back up there, and then you'll slump again. It's not good for your body, and it's not great for your insulin levels. And again, you could end up insulin sensitive like I was. Okay, next point. I do not believe in cheat days. For me, every day I eat the most delicious, tasty food that serves my body, and every day feels like a cheat day. I don't believe, and I know there's some of you who are watching tonight who train really hard, and you don't want to eat treats at all, but you want to give yourself a day that works. That's cool if that works for you. If you have one cheat day and it works for you. My cheat days used to turn into a cheat week that would turn into a cheat month and a cheat year. So every day I would eat treats that did not serve my health. I don't have willpower made of cast iron. I'm a real human being. I have my flaws as well. I don't think anybody has the most incredible willpower either. So I believe in eating real food, tasty food every day. And you guys have seen some of my recipes. I'm not missing out. I still made pavlova at Christmas time. I just made sure it served my health, and you know, there were no nasty chemicals in there. You know, it wasn't sweetened with artificial sweetener. I used a little bit of stevia. Delicious. And that's the thing, I eat real food and it's so tasty. Oh my goodness. My low carb lasagna, or mac and cheese, oh, so delicious. That, we associate those foods as being naughty foods or treat foods. That's my reality every day, and I'm still losing weight until my body finds its happy place. Matty Blythe, you've just said no, what about? Oh my goodness. Oh yes, Nicole, you've said Lift Plus and mothers. Maybe that's what Matty's saying no about, get rid of them immediately. And your dietitian said drink water. Water is best. In fact, one of the best things you can drink is water with a squeeze of lemon juice in it. Why? That lemon juice actually activates the enzyme in your saliva, which helps you process carbohydrates better. Winning. So if you do have a little bit of carbs in your diet, water with a little bit of lemon will actually help that process even better. Okay, so next point. Processed foods. Oh my goodness. Processed foods are crazy. Just crazy. The reason why they're not so good for you, they contain a lot of sodium, sugar, and additives that mess with your hormones again. Sodium, too much sodium, so we're talking salt, that can actually lead to your body holding too much water. And you can end up looking really puffy, so be careful with that. It also messes with your ability to burn fat. Empty calories is another trick for new players. Chips, bread, pasta, while we might think they are crazy delicious, there's no nutritional value in them. I mean, I would rather eat my own versions of those things if I'm craving them, which I don't really have any cravings anymore either, but I would rather eat my own versions that serve my health. There's lots of plant in them, and they're loaded with great nutritional value. Like my chocolate walnut brownie tastes so good. It is the best brownie ever. That with a little bit of cream on top, it tastes decadent. I don't feel like I'm missing out. But the best part is it's made from black beans. You can't tell there's black beans in it. It is so tasty. It's chocolatey. It's delicious. And it's so loaded with nutrition. There's iron in there. There's B vitamins in there. All that good stuff which serves my health. And, you know, the little part of me which wants to celebrate with a little bit of cake, because, you know, I still have that in me too. I'm getting that little part of me satisfied too, so I don't ever feel like I'm missing out. It's such a great way to eat. Okay, let's take a look at the other point. So get rid of those empty calories. We are not drinking enough water. There are calculators online that you can use that you can take your body weight, and it tells you how much water you should be drinking according to your body weight. But drink more. Drink more. It helps flush out toxins from your body, especially if you're being affected by BPAs or things like that in your home. Get rid of those toxins immediately. Drink more water, and it helps your body work more optimally. How much of our body is made of water? And at the moment, I don't know about you guys, but it's so hot here. I keep sweating. I think I've sweated out half my body weight in water. Got to replenish it somehow. Drink more water. It's great for you. Also, one of the things you need to consider is look at what's happening to the hormones. We are eating chicken and meat loaded with hormones. If you can afford it, go free range. Because I don't know about you, but you know, my hormones have already been doing their own thing. They don't need any help there. Okay, so that's a few tips on what to do with your food. Remember, you're in control of your food. You're a grown-up. You can make choices for yourself, so make good ones. Make good informed choices about the food you put in your body. Stop thinking about food as treats. Think about food as being delicious, being optimal for your body, and remember the difference between food that fuels or food that inflames. If it's inflaming you, why do it? Get rid of it. See how simple that is? Simple logic. Your body will tell you what you need. Okay, finally, and these are the parting tips I really want to share with you. The key to transforming your life is actually about addressing your mindset. So when we have ugly thoughts, they shine through our eyes and they make us ugly too. It's really important to look at your programming to start with. So here's a question for you, and I want to know in the newsfeed. Tell me with a thumbs up or a, oh my God, that's me. How many times were you told as a child that before you leave the house, you have to go to the toilet? Before you hop in the car, go to the toilet before you go. Go to the toilet. Let me know in the newsfeed. Send me through some hearts or some thumbs or whatever you like. Tell me. because that message was drummed into me as a child, and I find, and it cracks me up, I find every time I'm about to leave the house, I have to do an emergency wee. Every single time. So if you're like me, it's programming. Now, did you ever, yeah, lots of thumbs coming through, I thought so much. What about, did you ever get the message of you're not leaving the table till you finish your plate? Or the other message of around, well, you know, you've got to finish your plate, you've got to eat all your food because there's starving children in Africa who don't get all this food. Have you ever had that message as well? If so, send me through thumbs up or hearts or whatever. Because that programming, you know, that we were taught as a child, yeah, lots of thumbs coming through again. That programming is drummed into our subconscious mind, and that subconscious mind actually governs 90% of our daily choices and behaviors. So we have to be really conscious that those messages are programming that may have served us as a kid because our parents wanted to get nutrition into us, or they wanted to make sure we didn't wear our pants when we were out, you know. But now you're an adult, you can make a conscious decision. You don't have to finish your plate. Eat till you're full. Create a new program for yourself. And this is one of the biggest things I can share. This has absolutely worked for me. I've worked really hard to understand when I'm hungry and when I'm full. And it's just a case of really getting back in tune with your body and acknowledging if is that a program that's come from outside of you? Is it a program that's come through from your childhood? Or are you ready to make a new story for yourself and create a new program that serves you and serves your health? So that's something to be really mindful of. But on the other side of programming, we've got all those other stories that play around in our head, all those stories of I'm not worth it. What's the point of losing weight? I'm only ever going to be fat. What's the point of losing weight? I'm ugly. All those horrible stories that live with us, and that leads into something else that lets us down in our weight loss journey, our expectations. We set these crazy expectations for ourselves about the fact that, well, you know, I've been eating really well for a few days. I've just hopped on the scales. Why haven't I lost any weight? Oh, well, I'm still fat anyway. I'm just going to eat more food. Stop living by these hard expectations, whether they're expectations from your family, through your programming, or expectations you've set on yourself. This is not a diet. This is a journey. It's a lifestyle change. Be kind to yourself. Something else that doesn't work is skipping meals. Our bodies go into a state of deprivation. It alters your metabolism. You end up with those hunger attacks and low blood sugar. And what do? You binge. And all of this comes from the fact that, oh, you know, it doesn't matter if I skip a meal, I'll be okay. I'll be fine because then I'm saving some calories for later. I'm sorry to tell you, but it doesn't work that way, and neither do crash diets. I speak from experience, having been on crash diets and been a professional yo-yo dieter for 25 years. All you do is do damage to your body, to your mind, and to your soul, and you're worth way more than that. Don't do that to yourself. Having lived with it, where I am now is so much more happier, and I love the food I eat, and every day I wake up and my body feels good. And if you're tired of yo-yo dieting, if you're tired of buying off an infomercial because something's promised you that you're going to lose weight fast, you're not in it for the short game. We're in this for the long game. We want to feel good for the rest of our lives. So if you want to do that, I'm ready to do that with you. I am so excited that I am launching my transformation sessions. These are personal support sessions. Thank you so much for all these hearts and these thumbs. This is really kind. I do sessions, one-to-one sessions, where we catch up over a Skype and we look at 4 key areas: your emotional self, your physical self, your mindset, and your menu. This is years and years of research and study that I've finally put together, and I'm happy to support. In fact, I'm honored to support you guys through this journey if you're committed to being the best you yet. It's what I'm here to do. And now I can use technology like this, my experiences having worked in television as a presenter, to talk people through to help them find their inner voice and articulate that, and help them create the you that they really love, the you that's on the inside that they want to become the fullest physical expression of themselves. That, my friends, is what I'm here to do with you. So you can book those one-on-one sessions. The other thing I'll be launching very soon is my cooking classes, live cooking classes, where I cook, we talk, you eat. That's where you get a taster of my food, you get a taster of what it's like to address some of those emotional issues or physical issues holding you back, and we help reset or start the journey to help you reset your mindset for one hardwired for success. It's pretty exciting. So if that sounds like a little bit of you, there's the link. Pete's just shared the link there. Go to that list, sign up. This is where I get serious with you. We look at how to create support sessions over, we can do a one-off where I can reset your menu, or we can do a series of sessions where we can really dig deep and help you find that long-lasting transformation that isn't just a one-trick pony or one-trick wonder. This is the long game, my friends. I've done it. I know the secrets to success. I'm living the happiest, healthiest life I have ever lived. So if that sounds like a piece of you, we need to get in touch. Click that link, sign up, or if you want to book a support session, look at all the links coming through, thanks Pete. Sign up to that mailing list, book a support session right now. We can start tomorrow. It's that easy. Or there's the details about my live workshops. So if you want to cook, talk, eat, sounds like a bit of you, there's all the information. Thank you so much, everyone, for being part of this. Thank you all for being part of my journey. And thank you for sharing your comments in the newsfeed. I know there's lots of you that have watched that perhaps don't want to chat publicly, but if you want to chat, you can send me a personal message and I'm happy to talk to you and get this party started. I've lost a whole lot of weight. I have great health. You can too. Time to go. It's dinner time. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you so much to my lovely partner Pete for creating this live streams and this portal for me to be able to do that. I'm indebted to you, Pete, for this, so thank you. And thanks to everybody. Lynette Hill, I know you're watching too, for being part of my journey. Thanks to you all. Ka kite anō, ina hora. Be well.